Cavecast, the uncensored show for nerds of all kinds.
I mean, I'm sorry. I don't care who you are, but you think you're tough until you know for a fact that something is going to happen that you can't control, especially if it's something that messes up your pants. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like whether it's a first date, a job interview.
Just don't get Mexican on the first date. Don't go to Taco Bell. Don't get Mexican. Don't get oysters.
Yeah.
Like, just stay away from that.
Which actually, I'm curious. So what do you think is scarier in a relationship? The first fart or the first kiss?
Oh, man. I would say probably the first kiss.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? The first kiss scares you more?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Well, first of all, I'm not a huge kisser, but
man, you think you know a guy. Look at this.
Yeah, I'm not a huge kisser, but it's still like that. That's something that kind of, sparks the chemistry and kind of lets you know. Farting is one of those things where it's like everybody does it. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just kind of like part of you, like who you are. I even told Meg, like, I was like, hey, can we get this all the way before we even met? I was like, bodily fluids, farting, burping, all of these things. Like we all do it. There's nothing to be afraid of. Like, just be fine with it. Like we can just get past it and be adults.
Sure.
But
or be children, about it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. Like I still giggle when I hear farts. Like,
dude,
I mean, come on.
They're the funniest thing. And that's the thing that gives me peace now is that like, cause I don't know, like to me, it's one of those that like, I don't trust people that don't use profanity and I don't trust people that don't laugh at fart jokes. Like,
right.
Cause it's to me, it's like, dude, like, what are you doing with your life? Like, cause we all have that, memory of like, camping or whatever, where like you can hear somebody from like, the other side of the campsite or something, or like the tent next to you and you're like, that was Robert.
Yeah. Bro. Yeah. There are times that like, I still like when I like in the restroom or whatever, and I fart super loud because like the toilet like amplifies. I still giggle at myself. Nobody will be around. It's still fucking funny. So anyways,
yes,
enough toilet humor.
No, so well, that's actually one of the things I think that is involuntary for me is that if I'm in a bathroom and it happens to me at work every single time, because like I have like, you guys are going to learn a lot about me. But I have a schedule on usually when it happens. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like I know for a fact if I go in here at this time, hopefully nobody will come in and like, and I've had times where I'm like, no, dude, I'm a man. I can do this. I'm fine. And there's like one or two people at my workplace that just don't care if somebody is in the stall next to them. They're like, no, I'm here to do business because I have things to do. And I sit there and everything just goes, and I'm just like, well, I guess I'm going to sit here until they're done. It's this involuntary just fear that just overtakes me every single time. Bro, I don't know what it is. Like, I know that I've talked to you in the bathroom before, like whenever I've been in the bathroom and like, cause it's just because I mean, but we're also tight. So it's like, that's fine, but
that's still funny though.
But yeah, I don't know. Just that's one of my things.
Public. Like that's a public place. Like that's a completely different story.
What's to me, I feel like it's like with my coworkers, I should at least like, know like, oh, that's so-and-so, like whatever. But it's just,
I guess.
No, I don't know. It's a part of me feels like I should be over it. And like, there's worse things to be scared of, which I mean, we are going to get into tonight. We do have some legit, fears that we're probably going to talk about and probably some funny ones, but, I don't know. This felt like it was the right decision to, lead up to Halloween. We're not doing a Halloween episode.
Right.
But in the same hand, I think I can't remember when I brought this podcast up to you, but I was like, yeah, I want to do an episode on what scares us.
Like a week ago, probably. Something like that.
You were just like, no, man, like if we're doing this, save that for, either close to Halloween or, like something like that. Yeah. So.
Yeah. That was like last month, actually.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah, it was like mid-September.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was like, I get it, but like wait a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just why I remember I was like, wait a couple weeks, it'll be October.
Sure.
At least do it then. So yeah.
Yeah,
Here we are.
So I think that, it's time to get to brass tacks and do it. And I wanted to start with one of the Discord questions because first off, anybody that asked a question, as always, thank you so much for doing so. We appreciate you guys. And I wish that we could get to all of you, but in the same hand is that, it's just if we did that, we'd be here all night. And, but Dell on Discord asks, what is the most irrational fear that you have? What kind of phobia do you have? Like fear of heights, small spaces, etc. And I don't know if a lot of people know this. I think we may have talked about this on some lives, but I don't know when it started for me, but I have an incredible fear of moths. Like the cousin to the butterfly, and just, I don't know what, like, dude, it's something about like the fuzzy antenna, something about the eyes, like, and just
so are you afraid of butterflies?
No, actually, I think butterflies are cute.
They're just like ugly butterflies, dude.
I mean,
so no, I mean, that wasn't to be funny. Like, I was a legit question. So like, if you were afraid of butterflies,
the fear is taking you over. No,
but no, that's interesting because I would consider them kind of like, very similar as far as a look and everything, to where it might do the same thing to you, but they don't.
No, it's, to me, I think it's like a girth thing, or like, 'cause like just, they're like more like homely and like more like just, like bigger, like, because I think that, like,
you've never seen a big butterfly.
Butterflies are fine. They're like, it's like they're vibrant and they're colorful. Moths, like, I see their color, it's a sign of danger. Like,
they're just like, boring as fuck. That's all.
I just, bro, like,
they're us. We are moths.
We love light. No, it just, there's something about them that just, bro, like, I remember, God, when was it? It was when we were living in the duplex, and there was a friend of mine that his mom had this big coffee can, and it had foil on the top of it. And I remember being like, oh, like, what's this? Is this like food? She's like, oh no, that's our new pet. I'll show her to you. And I'm like, her? What do you mean her? Like, what is this female that is inside of this coffee can right now? And she peeled it back. And dude, I'm not kidding or over exaggerating. It was a moth that was probably like this fucking big.
Oh,
and it was like one of those big ones. Like, I even think about it. It's creeped me out, but it had like this red just look to it. And it had these spots and shit. And I remember seeing it, and I just started to like back up, and I'm backing up, and I'm like, no. No. I'm like, I don't want any part of this. She's like, no, she's cute. Look. And then I remember she took her finger and just rubbed it down her wings. And this thing is just chilling. And she's like, it's okay, baby. It's all right. I'm like, what are you doing right now? She's like, oh no, she's completely safe. She has a nest. We're going to have a bunch of them. I went, I'm going to go.
A nest?
There was like eggs and shit that were in the side of it. No, dude, it was one of the most terrifying experiences I've had. And from that day on, anytime that I've seen one, like, I've associated it with that. Like, I don't know if that's what started it, or like, cause I've just never liked them, but man, like, it has always freaked me out, especially if one gets in the house. Like, it's like that whole mentality of like, when you see like a wasp outside, you're like, oh, it's this little thing. But the second that a wasp is in your house, it's like, like a big monster, and you've got a tennis racket and you're trying to kill it.
Now it's an ordeal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's just, it has always been just like something of mine that I cannot explain it. Like my fear of Japanese anime, I can explain where that came from, because I had a bad experience when I was lucid dreaming one time. But when it comes to moths, like, it's just like, I don't know, like, that has always been something that has always just really freaked me out.
I wonder if you were just like little, like Chandler's age or something, and like one of them just like really freaked you out and it just never left you or something. Like, there has to be a reason.
Could be, yeah,
why you don't like them. Maybe you associate them with something different, like as far as like maybe a look or like, like shape or something like that. Like, I don't know, because normally like a fear, like I say, normally, not all the time, comes from like something happening,
a traumatizing event of some sort.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Or in the fact of people telling you all the time, be afraid of that, don't go near it.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, well, I'm not going to pet a snake.
Yeah.
So
yeah, see, yeah, but that's the other weird part, is that like, I'm not the biggest fan of spiders, but like snakes, I think snakes are cool.
Same.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if I would ever have a pet one, but like I've actually held one on my shoulders, like a big, like, boa constrictor before. That's never bothered me.
I would want one. The only thing that I can't do is the fact of if I get a snake, I want a large one, and I honestly don't think I could feed it.
Oh, really?
I don't think I could. I know you've got to give them usually like live, like, like rats and stuff. Like,
sure.
I just don't think I could do that.
Right.
Because once you start getting into bigger ones, like you feed them like fucking rabbits and shit. Like, you only have to do it like however many times, you know, a week or a month or whatever. But still, I don't think I could do it.
No. And it's at least like whenever I would feed the leopard gecko that I had, like it was just crickets, you know? So it's like,
right.
That's different. You shake them up, you know, in the calcium, make them look like Tony Montana and then drop them in where it's like, all right, here you go. You know, so, but
that's different.
Yeah. It's, I mean, like, I don't know. It's just, yeah, I don't know if I could feed a rodent to anything. Like that's just,
that's kind of where I'm at, where I'm just like, you know, insects are one thing or like, you know, or whatever it is. But it's like, dude, I can't. So yeah. I want one. Like I really do, but I can't.
No, we can just go to the zoo, you know?
Yeah, but that's not my boa constrictor.
But what if you like adopted it from like a distance, you know, you're like, all right, that's you know, that's, I don't know, Clarissa or whatever, you know, so she's a beautiful snake.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah. But no, yeah, that's always been a big fear of mine, is just like, dude, I know there's like a real like scientific name for it. Cause I mean, we've done an episode on phobias when we did the Copyright 425 podcast. So like we dove into like the really like long name, like weird ones and stuff, but I know there's one for moths, but it's just, I don't know, like it was always just like, it's always been something that's really odd to me that, you know, like I'm not even afraid of June bugs that much. And even
they're just like, annoying.
Yeah. Like they'll like pelt you in the face or something.
Yeah, like,
or,
dude.
Yeah. You know, we're trying to grill or you're trying to enjoy something.
Yeah, you're like, come on. And it's the noise. I'm just like, get off me. Like, yeah. You're like, where are you at? I usually have my hat. I'm like, come on.
What was actually, I can't remember what it was. We were out on the back deck. We were grilling. I think we were doing kitchen talk or something. And this thing flew at me and I straight up turned into a bitch because I couldn't tell what it was. And it was, I think it may have been a moth or like, but it was big. And all I remember was that it flew up in front of me, went around me, and I kind of felt something hit my back. And I think I dropped whatever I had and I went, oh, get it off me, get it off me, get it off me, get it off me. And I just like, dude, I just straight up turned into a 3-year-old where I was like, no, good. Like, so it just, because like it was the fear of the unknown where I'm like, is it a moth? Is it a bat? Like, is it like, is it a bat? Oh, speaking of which,
that's a huge fucking moth if it was a bat size.
Speaking of which, dude, I sent a video to Steph. You are not going to believe what happened. I was at I should probably tell somebody. I was at the warehouse.
I should probably tell somebody
because like I was just doing like a bunch of things and I got freaked out and I left. But I went to go leave the warehouse and there was a bat that was just circling and just doing his thing.
Okay.
And I took a video of it. If I find it, I might post it on like my Instagram or something. But I was going to send it to her and I'm like, are you seeing this? Look at this thing. Oh my God, I hope it doesn't come near me. And then it darted right at me and I went, oh shit. Like, just maybe it's just flying things that just bother me. I don't know. Like it's just, dude,
that's fucking hysterical, dude.
Like it's
Jesus.
It's not gonna hurt me, you know, but yeah, anyway, but yeah, just
the only thing I would be afraid of is like rabies.
Sure.
That is like literally like the as far as a bat, like I think bats are kind of cute. Mm-hmm. And even ones that are like in your house, like like when you try and get them out, like it does. Like I kind of would the 2 times I've had to try and get one out, well, successfully did. I made sure that like I was covered. Like I didn't want it to like scratch me or bite me.
Sure.
And because I was just like, get the fuck out. Like, but yeah. That's really my biggest concern with them. Not that the fact that like I don't like them. So I think they're cool.
So, okay. So I've opened up the layer on my irrational fears. So like, do you have any irrational fears that hit you? Like, because I mean, I don't know if like maybe they're a little more grounded than mine or, you know, like what would you say?
Mine, it's kind of funny and weird, but dude, it doesn't matter if it's like being like intimate or not. One of my biggest things that like freak me out is people like giving me a titty twister.
Oh my God, they're the worst.
I do not like my nipples being touched, dude. Fuck right off. So what I'm always afraid of is like when somebody's like, you know, giving you a bean dip or whatever, that they're gonna like snap it like with the, oh no, dude. I don't like it. It feels so fucking weird. But like I had my nipples pierced for a decade.
So that was okay.
No. So that was the thing was I wanted it done so bad. I gritted through it. Oh, it was bad.
Oh my God. No.
And then after like 10 years, my right one fell out like during the night, and somehow like it wasn't that it wasn't not healed. It just closed up basically. I couldn't really get it back through. And I was like, nope, not trying. So I rocked one for like another 3 years. And then like probably 2 years ago, I went, fuck it, and just took it out.
See,
I was like, but I wanted them done that bad.
God, but my thought was that you were like, yeah, it fell out, and then like maybe it got caught like in the sheet or something, and you were trying to like get up or something. So yeah,
but that was kind of the main thing too. Was like, not that it would hurt or like I ever really ripped it or anything, but I got sick of also like drying off and forgetting and that they were there and kind of catching them sometimes. I mean, you don't pull hard, but you start to tug. You're like, oh, it's attached. So,
oh my God. Because what was it? I think it was in the movie Airheads where Chris Farley just rips out the one dude's nipple ring.
Never seen it.
Oh, really?
Never seen Airheads.
Oh, dude, Airheads is hysterical.
I've seen clips.
Oh my God. It is a solid Brendan Fraser movie.
Oh, I've heard. Yeah, I've heard.
So good. But no, it's so wow. So Titty Twisters, like nipple play, you were just not on board whatsoever.
Not at all. And I don't like and being like restrained.
Oh, okay.
I don't like being restrained. And that's just like, again, like I'm not trying to be like a BDSM or anything, but like even like stuff like that. Nope. And don't put me like, I've seen people that do that like latex like suction thing. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Why would you do that?
Well, I mean, we've said it before where it's like, definitely we don't kink shame because I think that, again, like, because like
of course not.
Like, again, we've done a whole podcast where, you quizzed me on different fetishes and everything. So it's like, I mean, but in the same hand is that there's just some things I just don't understand, but again, it's like, if you're into it, go for it, just keep it away from me. It's not my deal,
But yeah, those are my kind of things where I'm just like, I don't know what it is. Like those were the first things that came to mind when I heard that question.
Interesting.
Yep. So
wow. See, well, because I don't know, like to me, like I don't really have a lot of like I have like some things because I know like you've talked about like your different triggers like in movies, like whether it's like a broken bone or if it's like things like that, like
fingernails, compound fractures, and like usually like teeth. But not so much anymore. I don't know why, but yeah.
Yeah. My one thing that I can't do is paper cuts. That's
really?
Bro, yeah, no. It's there's certain things that come to my memory that like make me like at certain times like it makes me feel like I have Tourette's sometimes because like I'll just be standing in the kitchen and then in a couple moments like will pass and I'm like and I'm like, oh God, it came back. No, God, no.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Where you're just like, oh fuck.
Yeah, but because I think I got one like on my finger in school or something, and I freaked out. And it was one of my friends at the time, Lane. Like he just looked at me. He's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, "This is awful." He's like, "It's a history book." He's like, "You'll be fine, man." So like, it did a number on me. That's one that I
history.
History. Yeah, not the paper cut, but I would have to say that I would probably rather have my nipples twisted rather than ever be up somewhere high and like like not having that control because like I've tried to I think I've been on like some like roofs before like when I've helped people like roof like whether it's like a church event or something like we're helping somebody or like different things but I don't know, dude, like that heights have always been something that's really gotten to me. And it's because like there's been sometimes even on the back deck, like if I look down, if I'm like leaning over or something like it does happen. Now I know the back deck is safe for the most part, but it's just like, I don't know, like that's always been one like I think it's more so the idea of like I'm not so much afraid of the fall.
It's the sudden stop at the end.
It's the sudden stop at the end.
That's what we always used to say on the roofing companies where we're not afraid of the fall. It's the sudden stop at the end that I don't like.
It's the fall's actually kind of fun, It's like wee, but yeah, just I don't know.
Heights have actually weirdly started to get like bad for me. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's because I haven't done it in so long. And, like I did roofing for many years and it never bothered me. And I think it's just, I mean, you've got like your feet underneath you, like there's a platform, like whatever. But I don't know. There's been some times where I've done things where I've been like, like substantially kind of high up and I've been like, whoa, hold on, and had to get my shit together. But then I'm like, I got my shit together and I was fine.
Sure.
But you know, other than that, like I'm okay with them. But it's weird, like it's kind of creeping in there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like the older I get, I guess. But
I think that that's something to be said too, is that like, I mean, there's things that affect me now that didn't affect me as a kid. And I think that's because I like almost had like this sentient, almost kind of like wake up moment where like I kind of just glided through life. And then once I like, there was like, I couldn't even tell you when it happened, but like kind of that moment of like, oh my God, like, you know, I can't watch this death in this movie anymore. Like this is traumatizing, or like, you know, things like that. Like the death of the guy that gets ripped apart in the Lost World Jurassic Park. But like, I used to think that was so cool when I was a kid, where I was like, it's 2 T-Rexes and stuff. And then like, it suddenly changed to me like, what if I was in that situation? And I'm like, this is awful. Like, this is so terrifying. So yeah, I think there is definitely something about age, like just as, you know, things progress, you know, it's such a, you know, liberating moment, because you're just like, well, I guess this is new. So it's like, this is here. So. But yeah, so heights have never really been that big of a deal until recently for you, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's not even that it's a thing for me, but it's just like I said, it's kind of crept in there, and I'm like, all right, like I have to like remind myself, like, dude, don't be a bitch. Like, what do you mean? Like, you did this all the time. So yeah, and then it goes away.
Well, it's there was actually a moment when I was up at Lake Erie, and because like we had some family up there that like, you know, had like, you know, some you know, campers and stuff like that we would stay at, and the area that we were in, they had this dock, and it was, I don't even know like what they did or like how it even made sense, but it was essentially like this almost like big like cement recess that was put in, you know, like where I think there was like a crane or something, and you know, we were kids, so we'd go up there and play, and I don't know what I was doing, but I remember just grabbing on, I think, to the pole that was there, and I was like talking to somebody, and I went to go swing my foot around, and I went to go put my foot down thinking that there was, you know, cement, and it was just a 30-foot drop. And both of my friends looked at me and went, hey, whoa. So, but by the grace of God, this hand just like gripped onto the metal or whatever I was on, and I think I actually swung around and then brought myself back and landed, and it was kind of like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, where I was like, and I just stopped. And I was just like, I'm alive.
I'm alive.
Dad's not going to be mad. Everything's good.
Well, if you're dead, you're not going to care.
Yeah, right. So, but yeah, that was one of those specific moments that like I looked back and I'm like, I almost died. Like it's like just
had moments like
just,
that.
you know, those moments where like you just cringe at the thought of like the shit that you got away with when you were a kid, where it's like nobody knows about these things that happened until a podcast 20 years from now, you know, so.
When you can't be in trouble anymore. Yeah. Sorry, Mom.
So she'll still kick her ass. So, but no. So yes, that's definitely heights have definitely been one for me. I've tried my best to, you know, get over it, but in the same hand is that like I've got no problem being on a plane. Like, you know, roller coasters don't bother me. You know, I think there's like that security of like, you know, that I'm strapped in, or that, you know, I'm on something stable. I think it's like when I have like just that moment of like, it's just me and I'm relying on myself, and my balance goes out, and then, you know, I panic, and, you know, like then everything, you know, goes to hell, you know? So, but as far as your other ones, what's some other things that are on your mind that scare you?
So one of my like quote funny ones, I guess you could say, is it's funny, but it's because it's true, is the government.
Oh my God. Like rightfully so.
I mean, not only just for some of the, I guess you could say, conspiracy things or things that, you know, are even like out there, but it's just in general, it's both sides. I'm not saying one side's better than the other. It's both. They're all corrupt. And the older I've gotten, and I don't even really like dig into politics that much, but what I do know and what I have seen over the years, or what I have looked up, or what I've read, or whatever it might be, I don't like it.
No,
I don't like it on either side. So it's like, what side are you? I'm not. And I don't know how I feel about it. And it scares me because I don't know how I feel. This is the fucking president of the United States, and then his minions, no matter what side it is. And it's like, that's fucking terrifying. They are the decider of how this all works.
Right.
Shit.
Yeah. And it's like, what kind of person is there? I mean, because I think that no matter what, like I've never had the ability to, properly speak into politics or whatever. Like I've got friends that are, very well versed in it. Like we have some family members that are very passionate about it, and that's their deal. Like it's,
exactly.
And I don't know. To me, I think that it's something that I think I more so fear, like, just the implication of, just what can happen, rather than like the day to day of, it's kind of like the big unknown, of what can happen or like, what is to come. And I don't know if it's the right way to think about it, but I try to remember that it's like, look, at the end of the day, we are on a hurtling rock in space. And it's like, we have these, ideas or these, ways that we, organize things like, the alphabet or like, the way we measure things and stuff like that.
Yeah. Who decided that?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Which it trips you out.
Who said, yeah. Go ahead.
No, just it trips you out when you realize that the alphabet doesn't need to be in order. We just decided that.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Who the fuck said it has to start with A? And who made it to where the word fuck is a bad word? Don't even get me started. Go ahead and finish your thought.
But no, like it kind of like makes me, look at it like in a way of like, nah, dude, like, we're, I try not to be, too, atheist with it, but in the same hand where it's like, no, dude, like we're organisms that are living on a rock. And like we die to these things of like, no, like this is my allegiance here and this is this or whatever. And you're my enemy. Like, I think I more so fear the division of what it does to people and things like that.
I think,
like,
what? That actually might be a big thing that like subconsciously is the problem that, you're right. That is a big thing that like, I think I always look at is the division that we have created in the world because of the politics or programming or whatever it might be to an extent. It is terrifying because we just never get over it.
Yeah.
It just is always a thing. And it's sad because it's like, how have we not grown to be, you know what I mean? And it's like, that's what's scary is that they've kept us in this bubble like that.
Sure. Yeah.
And I don't like that, man. Not that I don't have like, problem with authority, but like, I don't like you telling me what the fuck to do. Right. So,
sounds like you have a problem with authority.
Maybe I do.
No, I get it because it's just, again, like I try my best to, just not waste my time, with, being angry about somebody's political view or anything. Cause like, I mean, again, like we've talked about it before, but like, we have friends that are from many different walks of life and, from many different belief systems and everything. And it's like, I'm more so concerned on whether or not, it's like you think this movie is good.
Exactly. We don't give a fuck what you believe in the government, what sexual preference, what you think, like nothing. All right. Just don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
Honestly. Like that is really it. We don't care. We don't care. Just be a good person. That's all we care about.
Yeah, just don't be a douche.
Exactly. Everybody has bad days though.
Sure.
But sure. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. I just to me, I think that that's a very rational fear because I mean, think about it. I mean, even like when like when monarchies were a consistent thing, and it was like whether or not you had a good king or you had a bad king, right? And it's like this tyrants doing whatever they're doing. Like, I mean, it's just. At the end of the day, it's imperfect people trying to lead imperfect people.
I do get it. I do get it to an extent where it's like, that is the way that the world works. And either way, like you said, like you either had a good king or a bad king. Well, sometimes you get the bad one. And it's like, okay, like I understand that. But at the same time, there's so much else going on, than just the president is what I'm saying. It's the government in general. For sure. That's what I mean too. Like, it's scary. It's scary to think about what can happen, I guess, is like you've said before, where it's like, I don't know. And I think that's another thing too, where it's like, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Everything could be shut down because they fucking said so. Right. So yeah. But I don't want to get too much into it.
No, for sure. No, I get you, man. It's, I think that when it comes to, just the mentality of like living and everything too, because I mean, we have a question about this from Peyton. Okay. And obviously, I mean, because this is the thing that we all have to, embrace, and the thing that we have to acknowledge is that, we are born and we will die. Everybody has, an expiration date of some kind, and we have like that little dash that's, between our, our beginning date and our ending date. And like, that's the whole idea of like what we do with that. But it's the idea that, it's like that will come to a stop eventually. Peyton, Peyton has a really good question. He starts with, "Oh man, what scares you?" I'll just base it off of what scares me. I recently lost my uncle unexpectedly. What do you fear the most? How you'll pass away or when you will pass away? Losing my uncle made me think deeper about made me think a lot about that. Oh my God, I can't read. Losing my uncle made me think deeper about a lot of that stuff like that. I would say that when it comes to death is that in a way I'm careful on how I say this, is that there's a part of me that I welcome it when it's my time. I know that, it's, I will not be here forever. I know that, there's, not this, asshole mentality of like, Carter from, Final Destination, where he's like, I'm never going to die. It's like, no, you're the most scared out of all of them, but
right.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's, because of, how I grew up and like, what I've believed and what I believe now and like how things, have like morphed with that. But I've always said where it's like, look, I have no problem with dying. Like, I have the confidence that I'd go to heaven, but it doesn't mean that I want to get ripped apart by a lion to get there.
Right.
It's like, I would much rather, like, everybody wants to, go in their sleep and, things like that. But
of course,
but I don't know, like the mortality thing does kind of hit me every once in a while. Like, it's like, I do like have moments where I'm just like, oh my God, like that will happen. Like, what's it going to be like? And it's, and to me, it's like that whole idea of like, well, we all have to go on this ride eventually, and it's like, I mean, I don't know. It's just, it's something that, it comes to me in different waves at different times. And for the most part, I would say that I do have peace with it, but, I more so fear the way that it would happen if I was going to be worried about anything, like driving weirdly enough gets to me. Like if I know that I have to drive somewhere far, like if I do something for work, like the night before,
really,
dude, it's weird. Like that, like, especially like when the bedroom was in here, like I remember specifically a night that I knew, I think I had to drive to, I think it was either Van Wert or something. And it was like, like my long 3-hour, like, drive there. Mm-hmm. And it's the dumbest fear because the drive to Van Wert is so boring. It's just open fields and nobody's on the road. But it just, there was this moment I'm like, can I merge tomorrow? Like, it's like, is that going to be all right? Like, it's like, what happens if I can? Like, what if I cause a pileup? What if I do this? Like, that stuff happens,
okay.
But once I get on the road, I'm fine. So it's just that like,
it's that okay.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. Yeah. It's just, it's more so the way. And like, and just sometimes like little things like that will just get to me, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, mine, I guess more so anymore is the fact of it actually happening. Like it used to be the opposite. Like I was the opposite of you, where like years ago. Mm-hmm. And for most of my life, I was okay with death and the fact that it was going to happen and like, the situation. Now it's one of those things where it bothers me. Mm. And the fact of, I know that this could be the last time I look at this floor. This could be the last time I hang out with my children. My children are going to die one day. Like I brought that upon them and then myself to think about. Like it's all of these weird things that have been happening lately.
Yeah.
It was not my 40th birthday, but like it was around my 40s that this started happening. I'd say probably 38, 39.
Yeah.
It like things like that started popping in my head and it slowly got worse. The way I die obviously is the same thing like you. Like I don't want to just like die in a house fire.
Yeah, right.
Or something. But I feel like if I can go in a non-violent way, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
But that's not what I fear. It's more so in the fact of it is going to happen. Mm-hmm. And what is going to happen after that? Mm-hmm. Is it just lights out? Like, I know we both grew up in the same home, but like, I do struggle with that now. Like, is this a real thing? Mm-hmm. Am I really saved? Like, you know what I mean? Like it goes into all these things. Like it really does strike this fear into me of the unknown because I don't know what's going to happen. And I used to think I had that under control.
Yeah.
That was actually one of my answers tonight, but I knew that was a question and I didn't want that to be,
Yeah, no, I
but
get you.
it kind of just goes into that, man, where it's just like this fear, just like, and it was just like out of nowhere. It happened. And it like almost borderline took over my whole life. Like it was all I could think about for weeks and months. Yeah. And it just like, not that things scared me, but things scared me now. And I'm like, well, I don't want to, fuck it. You know, like it was always just one of those things for a while. And I'm like, and then I got over that part. But I think, like you said, the waves, like there are a lot of days where I don't think about it. But then there are a lot of days that I really do think about it. And it's just like, it just weighs heavy on me all the time anymore.
So it's what would you say, like, what have you done to help combat that? Or like, what, like, how, like, are you at a good place with it now? Or like, you know, like, how is that treating you right now?
No, I'm not. And I'm not trying to be funny, but I literally just, you know, I have my medical card. So like I try to medicate a little bit to try to sleep. And that's one of the biggest things I have my card for is to help me sleep. But I just try to stay busy. Just like I've said before, like I don't want to be, I can't sit still. If I'm sitting still, like I'm listening to music. Like my brain has to be occupied because I'll think about it. Yeah. And the sleep thing was always a big thing for me, is the fact of I already didn't sleep very well. And that was just piling on top of it. So, you know, smoking does help. And people could argue that it could amplify things. It doesn't. It does help me sleep, but it also does make you think.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, so there is small negative about it, but I also can talk myself around and be like, you know, and again, like rationalize and things like that. But I don't deal with it essentially.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And it's just the fact of I try to ignore it. Yeah. So that's, I guess, my answer.
no, that's honestly that. I mean, that's because I don't know.
Sarcasm. That's the other way.
Like, sarcasm fixes everything in that. Right. Yeah, it does. I mean, that's our defense mechanism, you know. But no, I get it because I mean, even though like I do have peace, very much like because I don't know if it's dumb to say, but how D12 had their song, you know, "The Good Die Young." You know, and I don't remember all the lyrics, you know, like specifically, but whoever was rapping at that point, and he said, like, when I got the call and that Bugs had gone home. Oh yeah. You know, and there's something about that I think is like we try our best to deal with death the only way that we, you know how to. And it's the idea that, you know, we don't say that somebody died, we say they passed away. You know, like we say things like that. Like, I think that one of the ways I heard one of my theology professors say it was that when people were crucified and you know, in olden times, was that, you know, they didn't want to tell their family members that they were crucified. They said they were lifted up. You know, it was a way to like soften that blow. And like, I try to like, quote unquote, like bullshit myself with that sometimes, you know, where it's like, it's easier to be like, nah, dude, like he just went home, you know, and it's, you know, so like, it's, you know, but in the same hand is that the moments that I've been afraid, it's more so, I think when I was kind of like in my faith crisis, which it kind of goes into my last like quote unquote fear, which I'll get there, but it's interesting because, you know, like I've been raised in church, you know, my whole life, and, you know, I've devoted so much time into ministry, and I no longer do, but you know, there were a couple of times that I really had to assess myself as well and really think about it. Where it was like, you know, like I'm struggling with this, you know, I'm very angry, you know, I'm, you know, very disappointed with where my mind and my life was at the moment, you know, and the things I said, the things I felt, and like, you know, how I was treating people that were around me, and like just all that stuff. And I think that there is kind of that sobering moment where you have to think about yourself, where it's like, you know, like, will this be counted against me?
Of course it will.
And, you know, and like it's hard because, you know, I've struggled with that just because of the fact that it's like, if I've made my decision for Christ, then if I die and stand before God, then ultimately the only thing that's seen is the blood of Jesus. You know, he doesn't see your sins. And it's, you know, so it's like that. But in the same hand is that humanistic side of me still comes out, and there's that part of me where it's like, well, what if it isn't the God of the Bible? You know, what if, you know, it's like I do come back as a rat, or like, you know, something dumb like that. You know, it's like, and I don't know, like I can't say that it goes away completely, but I would say that there's enough of, you know, my faith that I have, you know, established myself on, that I've seen proof of, and I've seen things in my life where I've been able to, you know, carry that peace and help it outweigh, you know, those moments whenever I am scared, you know. And because, I mean, again, it's every day is different, you know. It's just like some days, like you're just, you know, very irritable. Some days you're very plucky and, you know, very up,
right,
you know, and some days I think it's easier to, you know, to fall into that fear trap. But in the same hand is that I find myself more and more just being okay with it, and the idea that I'm just going to be done. Like, it's like, and there, cause like there is that exhaustion of that. And, I think even, Kevin Smith, even said it at one point, when he was talking about, his mom, when I think she was, legally dead for like however many minutes. And the long and short of it was that, you know, he asked her, he was like, well, you know, I made Dogma, you know, so he's like, I doubt that I'm going to get in if there's anything. And she even said, she's like, she's like, there was no place. She's like, I just was. And she's like, I wasn't thinking about, you know, like all the things I would think about on a daily basis of like, oh my God, I got to take care of my kids. Like, you know, I got to get to work. I got to take out the dogs. It was like, none of it mattered anymore. And it was this release of just like, you're done. And it's okay.
Okay.
So, and I don't know like how much truth that, you know, goes in, you know, or holds up or goes into, you know, the actual, you know, reality of what was happening. But I mean, because there's tons of people that, you know, have either said that they've experienced the other side and like what they've said. And a lot of them have contradicting things of what they talk about, you know, but I don't know, like I think that that's the one thing that, you know, once I've lived my life, and if I'm blessed with the ability to do the things that I want to do and to be able to have the people that I want and things like that, like that's why I would say I welcome it when it's my time.
Sure.
You know, of just like, no, like, you know, I did some cool things while I was here. I had some fun along the way. You know, I've rediscovered some things that, you know, I found out that I really do love, and, you know, have, you know, either found the person or have found the thing, or like, you know, all that stuff. Like, that's the stuff that I really try to look at, where it's like I focus on that dash of just like, you know, the time of when I was here, you know, and it just it helps it better. So, but all that being said, that's our talk on death. So, but but it looks like you had some other things you were kind of kind of going for there. So, is there anything else on your list you got?
Well, yeah, I mean, I had a couple. I mean, I know you said something about like having 3, but I had more than that. But I figure I kind of pick around. Like, I will say my other ones, but end with this one. Is my runner-ups were my kids getting hurt. I know that sounds cliche, guys, but like it really does suck. Like my daughter was sick at one point a while back, and when she had to go to the hospital and things, like it was just it was not a fun time. Nothing crazy. She was just like severely dehydrated and stuff, so she had to get poked and prodded and stuff. So
I remember that, dude. That was scary. Yeah.
And it just like, you know, you don't want to see that. But the other one was the devil. And it's just the fact of it sounds funny, but in the fact of he's everywhere and he creeps in. So like that is a legit fear, just because it's easy to give in to a lot of things, you know. But so the last one though is, I think this might be the more realistic one for me. The more I think about it is, well, what my life will become. With how I live now and quitting my job and doing social media for a living. Yeah, because this is scary, man.
No, how long has it been since you've been full time? Because I feel, to me, it's like I feel like I've been around you enough where it's just like it feels like it's kind of just always been. But
it's been. So let's say I know that my birthday I wasn't working, and it's been probably like 3 or 4 months before then. So what? March.
Wow, has it really been that long?
Something like March.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe May. Like somewhere around then. It's been probably about 6 months now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's definitely creeping on that 6 month, if not already has. So it's interesting because, revenue and things like that are not always consistent on, what's, payouts and things like that. So it can be scary because it's almost like working when I did sales. It's like having your commission check.
Sure.
You don't know how that's going to work every month. And do you get enough clients? And did you hit your goals and like all this stuff? But, luckily, knock on wood, revenue has stayed pretty much even. Like it's been nice, but it is scary because this can all go away in a second.
Yeah.
Like in a fucking second, this can be over. And that's terrifying. Mm-hmm. And not like, oh, I got to go back to a job. But like, no, like you failed. You can't do this anymore. I think maybe that's part of it is failure. Like if it doesn't work anymore, then that's a big part on me because I did something wrong.
Sure.
And, kind of how I look at it. But it is terrifying because every day you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if videos are going to perform well, if you're going to have a slew of them, if you're going to get a good one. Like it's shit like that is the stuff did I think of, was it funny? Was it like every day it's something. Just because you get to do social media for your living does not mean it's just fucking rainbows and sunshines all the time.
No,
that's not the way it is.
There's
stressful as fuck.
Well, because I've had some friends of mine that have wanted to pursue it, or have talked about like I want to be a YouTuber, I want to be an influencer, and I try my best to not discourage them because,
of course not,
because I know that it's like, nah, man, like that was me at one point, like, with my iToy, for the PS2 iToy, like figuring out how to plug it into the shitty computer we had in the kitchen in the duplex because everything was so small, and like, trying to do, ministry videos and then changing that to college vlogs and like doing everything. Like I've been in the trenches of that for a long time and have seen no fruitful nature come out of it.
Yeah.
And it's really only since Riker Road that, I've actually seen, what a YouTube channel can do. And there's this, the misconception that, it's nothing to scoff at. Like we've accumulated a very large audience on Riker Road.
We are pushing 200,000 subscribers.
Yes. And the weird thing is that it still doesn't feel like it. Like,
right.
Like even though like
right.
the interaction, like lives are harder to pick up, like to keep up with now. And like, it's, like things like that. Like there are some maybe like tangible things that I can kind of like maybe hold in a way and see. But in the same hand is that it's tough because, it's whether or not it's the stuff that people want us to react to, where it's like, they're like, oh, like, well, why don't you do this? And it's like, no, dude, like, we can't just do that. Like,
right. I wish we could.
Like, it would be amazing if, we could do nothing but Peyton Parrish for a week, or that we could do, Dance Gavin Dance, or like whatever, like, but it's just, that's not how you run it. That's not how you do it. And it's,
you can't, that's what sucks.
Well, cause I mean, even like, like people have said before where, I think one of the messages I got at one point was just like, it's like, you guys have just done nothing but chase the algorithm too much.
Duh.
It's like, it's like saying like, yeah, like you just went gold mining and dug where gold was. I know it's a terrible way to say it because I don't want to equate to that, but it's like,
right.
But the same hand is that it's like, whether or not you're like looking for fossils or anything, it's like, you wouldn't go look for fossils in a backyard. You would go look at it in a place where they're, they are there. And it's like digging for fossils, knowing you should be finding some and there's none.
Yeah.
And, it's like having to like move like, your compass and figuring out what to do. It's why we're trying Shut Up and Eat It. It's why we're, attempting to do gaming and do all this stuff too, where it's just like just seeing what will work and like, how we can keep doing what we love. But that's really interesting. You brought up the whole failure thing. Because I think that the one thing that has weighed on me a lot is I do have a fear of failure with something very specific, and it's something that I have wanted to do. And you and I have talked it to death many times, and tons of people, tons of people have no idea what it is, but there is a story that I've wanted to tell for a long time. And it's something that has been very important to me and has weighed on me in many different ways. It's a big reflection of my own personal faith struggle, which makes it, very personal that, I'm basically like, ripping open my heart and putting it out there and hoping people enjoy it. But I remember there was a night specifically that I was gearing up to write the next scene. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm like, this is what's going to happen. Like I knew all the beats of what needed to happen. And I think I walked past you in the living room and I said, hey man, I'm going to go write for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to go do this, and
I remember this night.
and you were like, all right, cool. Like, I'll be here. It's like whatever. And I sat down at the keyboard and I think I got 3 sentences in, and the character that I was attempting to write at this point is the character Candy. Candy is somebody that is very special to me. Just the fact that, she's somebody that I've had I would say like an amalgam of people in my life that I think that I've based her off of, because you have to draw from something to be able to create a character or to do things, and to like make it relatable. And, as I've, gone through more things recently and, the good things that I've been able to experience, I've seen more and more of her in my life, and I've been able to channel those things. And I love this character, and I knew that what I had to do to her for my story to be told was awful.
Sure.
And again, like I'm a part of the mentality that if I'm going to put my audience through hell, whether it's literal or if it's figurative, that everything will be worth it. And I know what the ending of the story is, and it is worth it. But essentially it's this eternal horror story, and
Okay.
through some situations she ends up falling into hell alive. And, it's a very different form of hell, because essentially the fabric of reality has been broken, glossing over a lot, but she's essentially falling in this void. And I remember typing out the words, her bruised and compacted body writhed. And I just stopped. And I remember just looking at the screen, and I think again, it was like 3 or 4 sentences in, and I couldn't write anymore. And I remember I just started crying, and I came out, and it was not even like 15 minutes. And,
you weren't down there very long.
And I remember you looked at me and you were like, are you okay? And I went, no. And I explained, what was happening. And, like you've heard enough about Candy to know, like how she got here and like how all that stuff was going on. But I don't know, man, like there's been times that, there's a lot of very aggressive content that is in the story that I want to write. And, the acknowledging of, of a God, and, the idea of what happens if that, basically falls apart. And I know that it's such a drastic, just over the top, ridiculous concept. And it's something that really like it worries me, because it's like something that I would put, my effort and my time into, like no matter how long it takes or what it takes, there's a part of me that just wonders, like, is it a waste of time? And that there's a part of me that, really is worried that it's like, well, like, is this something that I just keep for myself? It's that, because I think even like Randy Feldface said it this way, where he was like, if, an artist paints a picture and locks it inside of their closet, nobody sees it. Is it still art?
Well, of course,
but it's like, like, do we only validate something once it's been recognized and it's been graded? And that's something that, has stuck with me a lot with it, was that, I love these characters. I love the story that I want to tell. And it's just, I'm fearful that people that would, either read it or that would see it if it ever did get turned into a movie. And then there's that whole fear of like, oh my God, like, how do I even do this? Like, there's a lot of, practical things that go into that. But I don't know, like it's kind of like one of my biggest hurdles right now creatively. And it's something that, I worry that I won't be able to finish it. I worry that that even when I do finish it, that it won't be, accepted. Especially like in the, Christian community of like, like, why are you doing this? You're claiming that, you believe this, but you're writing this very blasphemous story, for lack of a better term, of the idea. Who
gives a fuck? Look at Denzel Washington. He was a pastor of a church that does R-rated movies all the time.
Sure.
And when he was confronted about it, I'm pretty sure there was some interview with that happening, and people from his church were asking him about his roles. And he was like, I'm an actor. That's what I'm paid to do. But I choose my roles very wisely. So he's done many things as far as like against, I don't want to say against religion, but that had more to do with God, more than just God. Like there was, the what was that movie, Fallen?
I've not seen it, but I've heard of it.
But stuff like that. Like don't look at it like that. Mm-hmm. Just because you have a certain belief doesn't mean you can't still make something like this. There's no rules to that, man. Mm-hmm. You can still be a believer and say fuck.
Yeah, right.
But it's just I don't want you thinking you have to hold yourself to that kind of like value, I guess. Mm-hmm. Maybe if you were like the head of a church and like all like maybe right. Because of people like following your lead like that, but you could argue that okay, you're supposed to be the the leader, blah blah blah, but you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. Like there's levels to that. I don't think that's something you should really concern yourself with. If you want to make your movie or write your script, regardless if it's all satanic worshiping things, maybe it's just that was what you were feeling and how you wanted to get it out. Yeah, that's what it is. It's art. You're expressing yourself.
Yeah, I think that there's also a part of me that feels like that I wouldn't be able to bring anything like fresh in a way. Sure. There's only one thing that has stuck with me, and for anybody that does watch this, I would love to know what your theory is on this, because it's something that I've kept locked away, but there is a character that does end up in, whatever their version of hell is, because it's almost like this idea that, it's not fire and brimstone anymore. It's like this, madman that has become God, essentially just does whatever he wants and, does it for the fun of it. And there was a character that essentially is just in an open wasteland. I imagine it almost like something like, it's very Silent Hill-esque, where it's this gray tone kind of a thing. And it's just him and a rock.
Oh yeah.
And his basically the way that he can get out is if he can figure out what to do with this rock. And every once in a while, this evil God character comes back in and will kind of taunt him. And, maybe he's like, got the rock and he's trying to balance it. And he's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm balancing the rock. He's like, huh, yeah, I never thought of that. That's not it. So it's like, but he has all of eternity to figure out. It's like, there's something to do with like that. I know what the answer is.
Right. Right.
But it's like, to me, like, I feel almost like it's this mentality of that, like, since I know all the answers, I've not been able to give it to an audience to know whether or not it's a compelling thing to like make them wonder.
Sure.
And it's things like that where it's like, what is he supposed to do with this rock? Because it's such a simple, dumb, infuriating thing. And that's the stuff that I've tried to like hone into. And there is that, that worry and that fear of just like, is it good enough? Mm-hmm, like, is this something that, will impact people the way that it impacted me the first time that I thought about it, and it's like, that's just something that, has really stuck with me, and it's, but
I get it.
Yeah. In the same hand, it's fun though, because I'm like you said before, was that, literally Squid Game worked with PlayStation symbols on masks. So it's like, that's come on. That's the thing that has helped me push forward a little bit, in times where I'm like, well, this is a dumb idea, but write it down anyway,
Exactly.
But, I'm just, I don't know. There's a lot to it, and it does worry me, and it's it's something that I'm I am passionate about it, and I love creating things. I love doing what we do, no matter what it is. But that is a pool that I've not jumped into the deep end completely. I've not cannonballed into that yet,
right.
And it's just it's a very very new thing. So, but yeah, it's just. This is a very interesting podcast of fears. We talked.
It definitely was
from farting to poop jokes to life and death and to the government. Everything scares us. Just
everything,
literally everything. Yes. But nevertheless, guys, I really hope that you guys have been enjoying the content that we've been posting. We enjoy having these conversations, and we appreciate that you guys are here with us and that you enjoy listening to us talk. We still don't understand, why you're here, but it's something that I'm very thankful for, that you guys are along with us, on this ride, and to hopefully build something, that, besides Riker Road, but to build something good here too, and to do other things. But Nevertheless, Eric, is there anything that you would like to say to the audience before we officially sign off and then bring in the next episode next week? Is there anything that you would like to tell them?
Well, going with how we started with the show is nobody can digest corn.
It's the one thing that in peanuts.
Yeah.
This shit's gonna have nuts in it. And with that, we appreciate your guys' time. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one, and we will talk at you guys soon. Have a wonderful Halloween. Be safe and do your thing. Eat lots of candy, not the candy corn. It's gross. So adios, guys.